Hello everybody, welcome back to the channel, and football is finally back. First games of the NFL regular season start on Thursday and Friday, and first full Sunday of football is on Sunday, and I am, for one, so excited that NFL football is back. It's one of my favorite times of the year. My wife is really excited, which I'm personally excited about too. I'm in 2 fantasy leagues with my friends and my in-laws' families. And let's just say it is a good time to be back for NFL because this season looks to be a pretty good one from a lot of teams that are contending for spots. So I've decided let's go ahead and work on a tier list today. And I have these current 5 tiers here. Super Bowl contender. Basically the top cream of the crop teams that are expected to be in the championship games and the Super Bowl. And if not, it's kind of a down year for them. Then we have teams that I expect to make a deep playoff run, win a wild card game, in the right circumstances can make the Super Bowl depending on if they reach the potential. Then we have depends on QB. I know every team depends on the quarterback to do, but these are for teams that really need their quarterback situation to work out the right way in order to make a deep playoff run. But volatility has happened in the past for them as well. Then we have meh teams, kind of just like average teams that are just in the middle of the pack, not expected to be too great but not expected to be too bad. And then we have bad, so just flat out terrible football teams. Sorry, excuse me. So let's go on ahead and get started. With the Arizona Cardinals, and for me, I'm putting them in meh. Do I think they're going to be a good team that can make the playoffs, make some noise? No. Do I think they're going to be an absolute dumpster fire? No, I don't, because of Kyler Murray's return to full health. Because I do believe this guy is a top quarterback, can be a top quarterback in this league. When healthy, he's got great athletic traits, a good pass, and now he has Marvin Harrison Jr. to throw to, and quite a decent weaponry around him. I mean, Trey McBride, the tight end, should be really good for them. The only thing that's going to be holding this team back is their defense. Their defense does not look great, and that's why they're not going to really make the playoffs, but they will be competitive. They're going to be a fun watch with Kyler Murray. So, Cardinals in meh. Falcons. This is a team that I'm going to put on depends on QB, because their season really depends on if Kirk Cousins can come back fully healthy from the Achilles tear last year, and if he could play like he was in Minnesota last year before he went down with injury. Because before Kirk Cousins went down with injury, he was potentially an MVP candidate. He was that good. They got the weapons around. They got Bijan Robinson, Drake London, Kyle Pitts, and they have a solid defense. They should have better coaching, and it really comes down to Kirk Cousins playing up to that contract. And if he does, this team can easily win the NFC South and potentially make some noise in the playoffs. But again, all depends on that quarterback. So Atlanta in that middle tier there. Baltimore, this team's a Super Bowl contender. They got MVP Lamar Jackson, still a great defense. They're going to miss their defensive coordinator who went on to be the head coach of the Seahawks. They got good weapons around Lamar. They signed King Henry. The only question is, can this team get past Kansas City? Will they finally reach that next step in the playoffs to make that leap? So that's the question there for Baltimore, but easily top 2 in the AFC right now, so Super Bowl contender for me. Buffalo, team that can make a deep playoff run, but time is running short on them. They lost a bunch of weaponry. Gabe Davis and Stephon Diggs are gone. They have Khalil Shakir, Keon Coleman as a rookie receiver there, but they got Josh Allen, who is probably one of the top number 2 quarterback in the league right now. His ability to just throw it all over the place with his running ability makes him really dangerous. The defense should be interesting to see. I still believe Buffalo can make a deep playoff run, but I don't know if they're going to be Super Bowl contenders with Baltimore and Kansas City ahead of them, but Buffalo will still have a strong season. Bad. Panthers are going to be bad. Bryce Young still don't know how exactly he's going to play this year. There's not really much around him for the supporting cast, especially because they traded their first round pick, ended up being the number 1 overall pick this year to the Bears for Bryce Young. And yeah, I just don't know what is going to happen with the Panthers. All I know is they don't have a lot of talent, and I think they'll be contending for that number 1 overall pick again this year. Chicago. I'm actually going to put them in meh tier, mainly because they have a great supporting cast around Caleb Williams right now. They got good weapon. They got DJ Moore, Cole Kmet, Keenan Allen. Defense should be solid. Offensive line is a question mark for them, same as the running game, but it might be depends on QB. I don't think they're that good yet. I think Caleb Williams will have his stretches of struggle in the NFL. He has a talent. I do believe he will be a top quarterback in the league in the future, just not this year. I think he holds on the ball a little bit too long. I think when he faces actual NFL speed defenses, not just in the preseason, he will struggle a bit, but he will adjust. I believe in the kid's talent, and I think the Bears will finally have a franchise quarterback that can pass over 4,000 yards or throw 30 touchdowns, which is a scary thought, but I don't think it's going to. I think he will reach those numbers this year. I don't think the Bears would be a playoff team this year. So, Bears currently in meh. Bengals. Depends on QB. If Joe Burrow is back fully healthy, fully Joe Burrow, and with no rust, this team can challenge Kansas City and Baltimore for the Super Bowl spot for the AFC. Because this team still has a great weaponry with Jamar Chase and T. Higgins. They got decent running back. They have a good, solid defense. If Joe Burrow comes back and is there, then yeah, the Bengals can be really, really good. But that's if Joe Burrow can be like that immediately, not have a bunch of rust for missing most of the year last year. And he had rust when he did play last year too. So Bengals depends on QB. Same with the Browns, because this team will go as far as Deshaun Watson can take them. If Deshaun Watson is like an average starting quarterback, this team will make a deep playoff run because the defense is legitimately the best defense in the league right now. They got some good weapons around Deshaun that can elevate his play. But if Deshaun Watson has been what we've seen from him ever since he got to Cleveland and it continues to be a below average, sometimes terrible quarterback in the NFL, then you have a Browns team that will be like last year where they might be able to make the playoffs off the back of their defense, but they're not going much further than the first round because their offense can't do anything. So it really, really, really does depend on if Deshaun Watson is able to be decent. But that's where the Browns are at right now. Dallas Cowboys. I got them here at deep playoff run team. Put those in quotation marks. They're going to have a strong regular season. Dallas always does. But I think as soon as they get to the playoffs, they're going to fold again. They do it every year, but they're not depends on QB because we know who Dak is. He's going to be a great regular season QB, but not really do much in the playoffs. But they'll still be like contending sort of team. Who knows? Maybe they'll finally break through, but I highly doubt it. So Dallas deep playoff run. Denver. I really don't. I'm going to put them here in bad, but very upper end of bad because unlike the Bears, who I believe strongly that Caleb Williams can be elite, I think Bo Nix is a high floor, low ceiling prospect. They got some decent weapons around him. They got a decent defense, and I think Bo Nix would be a solid quarterback. But I just think they don't have anything they're necessarily great at. They don't, compared to like the Bears, have a good defense. The Cardinals, I think, will have a great offense this year. I think the Broncos will be very mediocre at everything. And I think that makes them kind of a bad team in terms of this year. Because I don't think they're a part of this year like the Cardinals and Bears. But they're not really a Panther either bad, but I don't know. Denver is going to be an intriguing team. Next up, the Detroit Lions. And I cannot believe I'm saying this here in a Week 1 power ranking, but I believe the Lions are a Super Bowl contender. You heard that right. Because last year they made the NFC Championship game, should have made it to the Super Bowl if they didn't blow a lead against the dang 49ers. They brought basically almost everyone back. They got stronger in the secondary, which was their weakness last year. I still think that's the worst part of their team is that secondary, and as can be exploited, but they didn't try to improve it. They have Amon-Ra St. Brown, Jahmyr Gibbs, Sam Laporta. Just, this team is really, really, really good. They got one of the strongest offensive lines in the game, and it's just insane how good this Lions team has gotten in the past few years. And even though I am a rival of the Lions, it is so refreshing to see that city, that fan base, rejuvenated with hope and passion. Because, man, Lions fans go through a lot. And I like it when I see teams that are traditionally very bad have these moments and make it through. Because other than the Packers, I'm a fan of the Brewers and Bucks. Those teams have sucked for a long time before they're in the current eras of being great. And it is so good when that feeling happens. And I think that's what the Lions fans are going through right now. The only thing they need is to make it to the Super Bowl and win it. But we'll see if they are able to do that this year. I think they have a strong chance to, because like I said, they were a half away from making the Super Bowl. Green Bay. This is a team that I think can make a deep playoff run. I'm trying not to sound biased at all in this, but the Packers are going to be a dangerous team. We know about the offense. We know Jordan Love had an absolute tear to end of the year last year. He's going to be the same level this year. They signed Josh Jacobs, who I think is going to be an excellent running back for Green Bay. They got the deepest wide receiver room in the NFL with a bunch of guys whose skill sets mesh perfectly together. Got a solid offensive line. The thing that this team is hoping on is that Jeff Hafley, the new defensive coordinator for the Packers, is at least an average coordinator, can have an average defense, unlike the Joe Barry-led defenses the past few years. If the Packers defense, which has a ton of talent on there, could be a top 12, maybe top 10 defense, paired with that offense, yeah, watch out, Green Bay is going to be back. But until I know for certain that the defense can do that, they're not in this tier yet. But I think they have the potential to make the Super Bowl this year if everything goes well. Same thing here with the Texans. Another team that had a very strong year last year, very strong end to the year last year as well. Have a young quarterback with great weapons, a kind of terrible offensive line, but a good defense with a great coach. And yeah, CJ Stroud is legit. DeMeco Ryans is a legit head coach in the league. Their defense has been incredible, and overall, I think a dark horse Super Bowl matchup would be Texans-Packers, because I think these are the two of the young up-and-coming teams in the league. So don't be surprised if they fight it out in the Super Bowl. But they're not quite there yet, because I still think both of these teams have flaws. Ooh, that's supposed to be bowl, not bow. Colts. This is a team like these guys here where it depends on the quarterback. If Anthony Richardson is healthy and can reach his potential, this team is scary because his ceiling is basically unlimited with his arm and his legs. He can kind of be almost anything he wants to be, but he needs to stay healthy and he needs to be more consistent with his throws. Otherwise, he's going to be kind of a bigger Justin Fields. But if he is able to reach that potential, the Colts are scary. But other than that, I mean, they got Joe Flacco. If things go bad, he can keep it steady, but don't really think the Colts are going anywhere if Richardson is not who he is. Kind of here as well is the Jaguars. I mean, it really depends on if Trevor Lawrence can actually reach the ceiling that we think we have for him. If he can, this team can be a deep playoff run contender because his talent can get up there. But if not, this is going to be a bad team. He's just like an average to below average quarterback. Now, I'm banking on Trevor being that kind of quasi-elite guy, but he has to prove it on the field. And he's also coming off injury. He was banged up last year. So, Jaguars are down there and depends on the QB tier. I mean, what else do I need to say? They're the two-time defending Super Bowl champions. They still got Reed. They still got Mahomes. They got Kelsey. They got strong defense. They got decent weapons. And all I'm saying is, until they prove otherwise, they're going to be up there in Super Bowl contender. That's all I got to say there. Meh. Got the Chargers. I mean, Justin Herbert is going to be Justin Herbert, but who's he going to throw to is a big question. This defense kind of got an overhaul this year. They're trying to rebuild the offensive line there in the trenches. I think Jim Harbaugh is going to be a good coach for this team. I think in the future they can be scary, but this year they're rebuilding. They are definitely a rebuilding team, but they can be solid, especially with Justin Herbert leading the way. Rams. Team not put that up here with the Cowboys. I think they can make a deep playoff run. I think their offense is going to be able to keep them in games. Matt Stafford should be back fully healthy, and he can be a difference maker in this league. They got Cooper Kupp, Puka Nacua. They got some other good receivers there too. Kyron Williams as a running back, a decent offensive line. The thing that'll hold them back is that defense. Losing Aaron Donald to retirement is a big, big deal. Their defense line is basically very squishy now, and their secondary is not much better. So, yeah, up there for deep playoff run for Rams if the offense can outshoot the other offenses in the league. Raiders. I'm putting them bad here with the Broncos because I just don't trust their quarterback situation. They got Gardner Minshew starting right now. Aiden O'Connell is going to be there as a backup. Defense should be better, but I don't think it'll be that much better to carry a kind of below average quarterback room, even though they still have Devontae Adams. They got Michael Mayer. They got some decent weaponry there. But I just think with quarterback play being that bad, then yeah, they're not there. They're in kind of a bad tier. Next up, we got the Miami Dolphins. Depends on QB. Depends on if Tua can stay healthy and if Tua does not turn the ball over. If Tua plays in the system that Mike McDaniel has there, he could be great and lead his team to the playoffs and potentially further if they don't play in Kansas City in January. But if Tua does not do that, if he kind of gets off his rhythm, if the offensive line falls apart, if teams catch up to them in December like they have been the past few years, then Dolphins are in trouble. And their opinion depends on QB for me. Minnesota. Meh. Opposite, I think they're a meh because they got a solid defense. Losing J.J. McCarthy for the year sucks. Absolutely does. So that means they got the worst starting quarterback in the league with Sam Darnold, but he has great weapons around him. I mean, he's got Justin Jefferson and T.J. Hawkinson when he gets healthy. And the defense should be decent. Offensive line is solid. It's just the quarterback is holding his team back, and that's all I'm going to say for the Vikings. Patriots. This could be like one of the worst teams in the league. That offensive line is going to get Jacoby Brissett killed. 100%. There's no weapons around him. They traded away their best defensive player. Drake May is lucky that he's not starting because Brissett is gonna die. So yeah, no. Patriots are probably gonna be the worst team in football this year. And yeah. Another team that's meh. Saints. I mean, they're gonna be like 7-8. 8 and 9, 9 and 8. They're gonna be around there, that range. Not really much to say about them. They got some decent weapons, some decent defense, decent quarterback, so they're kind of just meh. So, yeah. Giants. Bad. They got Daniel Jones as a quarterback. Bad. All I'm going to say for the Giants there. New York Jets. Depends on QB. Because if Rodgers is back healthy and he gets back to like 80% of his MVP form from 2020 and 2021, then the Jets are going to be a very dangerous team because they got the weapons. They got the defense. O-line I'm a bit worried about. They did sign some guys here to improve the O-line, but those are also people who can be injured frequently, so that's a little bit concerning there. But it really, really depends on if Rodgers can get back fully healthy. I mean, he's 40 years old coming off an Achilles tear. And if he can stay healthy with that, and if he is that guy that he's been for the majority of his career. If that is the case, this team can be potential Super Bowl contender with everything around him. But that's a lot of ifs. And this is also a team that just seems to be cursed no matter what they do. So the Jets have to prove it to me. They have to prove it to me. I'm not going to put them that high yet because of these big ifs they got around the quarterback position. So, but of that, if it does well, it will go really, really well. Next up, we got the Philadelphia Eagles. Team here that can make a deep playoff run. They got the offensive talent. Defense is decent. But the way they ended last year gave me a bad taste in my mouth. They got blown up by the Buccaneers, for Pete's sake. So, but they're kind of resetting. They're getting back to basics, and they can be decent again. So I think they can be a contender up here. Pittsburgh, meh. Epitome of meh. They probably will sneak into the playoffs for some unforsaken reason, but they got Russell Wilson as quarterback. Not really great weapons around him. Defense is going to be great. If they make the playoffs, it's going to be because of that defense again. But the Steelers are just the epitome of a meh team. And speaking of another meh team, Seattle. We know Geno Smith has transformed himself into a solid starting quarterback, but I just don't know what's going on with him. They got a new head coach who is implementing the Baltimore defense system, so the defense might be rejuvenated, but I just don't think that's going to happen, so I'm going to put them in meh. San Francisco, Super Bowl contender. I mean, the weapons they got. Deebo Samuel, Brandon Ayuk, Christian McCaffrey, George Kittle, Jawan Jennings. Defense is going to be solid again. Brock Purdy is going to be a very solid quarterback for them. The system works. They just can't get over Mr. Mahomes over here in the hump. But San Francisco this is like their last dance because a lot of they're facing cap crunch here shortly. Trent Williams is holding out for a deal. Brock Purdy's going to get paid here soon. So, yeah. This is like their last chance with this core to make a Super Bowl run. So, it'll be interesting to see what they do. Tampa Bay. Well, here with Atlanta, depends on quarterback. If Baker Mayfield is the Baker Mayfield we got last year, this team will compete for the division title again. But if we get Baker Mayfield that was at Carolina the year before he went to Tampa Bay, then this team is going to suck. It does depend on Baker Mayfield because they got consistency everywhere else but with Baker. So, be interested to see what he does there. Tennessee, I think it's going to be a bad team, but they're an interesting bad team. They got a lot of young pieces there. They got Will Levis. They're going to try out for a starter for the first full season of his career. Defense is going to be solid as well, so it'll be interesting to see what they do there. And then Washington, going to be bad as well. Jaden Daniels is going to be an interesting quarterback here. So, yeah. That is where I have my tier list at. Super Bowl contenders, I got Kansas City, San Francisco, Baltimore, and Detroit. Deep playoff run, I got Houston, Green Bay, Philadelphia, Buffalo, LA Rams, Dallas. Depends on quarterback, Jets, Miami, Atlanta, Tampa Bay, Cincinnati, Cleveland, Jacksonville, Indianapolis. Meh. I have Seattle, Pittsburgh, Arizona, LA Chargers, Chicago, Minnesota, New Orleans. Bad, I got Vegas, Denver, Tennessee, Washington, New York Giants, Carolina, and New England. Let me know what you guys think down in the comments below. Who do you think is going to win the Super Bowl this year? Personally, I think it will be Detroit. They got the swagger. I think they will beat the Chiefs in the Super Bowl this year. That is my official prediction in the preseason. So let's get it going, guys. Tomorrow will be my NFL Week 1 game predictions, who I think is going to win each game. And then Thursday will be my MLB power rankings for the month of September. So let me know what you guys think down in the comments below, and I'll see you again very soon. Peace.